It's turkey time, and no one wants a dry turkey. And I'm gonna teach you my best ever way of keeping it moist, succulent, and juicy. It's the brining technique. It's very, very easy to do. You start with about 1 liter or 4 cups of water, and you stick that into a big old pot, and you bring it to the boil. All right, so we've got our water coming up to the boil. The next thing we need to do is make a spice mix. So we start with onion powder and garlic powder. Come on, get in there. Sometimes it'll just stick together. I've got some thyme. I've got some oregano, or oregano for my American mates. I've got some cayenne pepper, that's where the spice comes from, and some paprika. If you want it to be smoky, you can use the smoked paprika as well. Then black pepper, that is it. And next I just mix it together. I'm using a little bit of rosemary because this is actually going to be the brush that I use to baste my turkey with. But you stir that together, okay? Make sure that you break up any lumps in those spices. We're going to use the spice mix in our brine. We're going to use it to make a butter, a Cajun butter that we're going to baste our turkey with. And then we also use it to make our sauce. So first off, we need 1/3 cup of that beautiful spice mix. So just fill your little cup measurement. Make sure that you've got it nice and level. Okay, perfect. 1/3 cup goes into your boiling water. You add some sugar and some salt. I know what you're thinking. You're like, that's too much salt. Don't worry. The truth is that's going to dissolve down. I've taken just 1 quart of water. I've got another 7 quarts of water here. So we're going to end up with an 8-quart brine, right? And the reason I've taken all of those seasonings, salt and sugar, into the small piece of water, small amount of water, is because I'm just going to bring that to the boil. Instead of getting a giant pot and boiling the whole thing, you can dissolve all of your spices in the one small container full of water, and then you pour that into the big container. What are we doing all this for? We're brining our turkey. What does brining do? It allows moisture and flavor to get into the protein, so when it roasts, it stays succulent, it stays juicy, and it is just so much nicer because all of those seasonings get right into the turkey. Don't taste it because it's going to be way too salty, way too sweet, and way too spicy because we haven't diluted it yet with our ice cold water. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Turkey needs a little help. It's a little bland and it's a little dry, unless you help it out. By brining it, you add succulence. By making a delicious spice rub, you add flavor. Now, I love the flavor of Cajun food, right? And you get it right here. And you get just that hint of spice, and you get that onion and the garlic, all of those rich flavors mixed together, infused into the flavor of the turkey. I promise you, it's the most succulent and delicious turkey you'll ever have. Once that's come to a boil, and you feel no more salt, no more sugar, and I don't feel it, that means it's dissolved. Go ahead and open yourself a beer. By the way, every chef knows how to do this. If you want to open a beer that isn't a twist top, you get a spoon, you put your hand around the neck of the beer, and you pop the top off. Then you pour the beer in, and you've got yourself. So who needs a bottle opener? Just use the back of the spoon. You pour the beer in, you turn that temperature down or off, and then you get your ice cold water, right? Now that you've got all of that concentrated flavor into the bottom of the brine, just give the pan a little swirl and pour it straight into your ice cold water. Of course, that ice cold water pretty much cools down that brine instantly. You can still see the little pieces of ice floating. Give it a good mix. And you are ready to brine. You can brine chicken, you can even brine seafood. I've brined scallops before, I've brined pieces of fish, and you do impart flavor and moisture into anything that you cook in, right? Especially a big bird like a turkey, it really is ideal for brining. You're just gonna pick it up, just like that, and pop the whole thing in like this. We're gonna submerge it. You ready? Almost overflowing, but then the cavity fills. So you'll see right there, you get that whole turkey into the brine. If you don't have one of these big buckets, you can find these. They're called brining bags. And you put the turkey in the bag and then you fill it up with the brine. That works too. The next important question is, how long do we brine it for? A big turkey like this should probably go overnight, so 12 hours. I always say put it in the brine, stick it in the fridge, go to bed, wake up, take a shower, come downstairs and pull it back out of the brine. That's a good amount of time for a big turkey like this. If you leave it in too long, there's a chance it'll get too salty and the flavor will penetrate too much. If you've got a little bit protruding like this from the brine, I would suggest you just pick it up, just spin it around, and then the bottom part of the turkey is less important because you don't really eat the bottom part of the carcass, but you do want the breast totally submerged in there. All right, so now I'm going to stick this in the fridge. That's important. You don't leave it out. It's got to go into a fridge. You can cover it with cling film, stick a lid on, whatever makes you happy, and we'll come back and find this in about 12 hours from now. Our turkey's brining. While that happens, we're going to make a Cajun butter, and this is going to be our basting butter. So before you use all of that beautiful spice rub, save a couple of tablespoons to the side, probably that much. That's going to be for our sauce. So we're going to have the same flavor going all the way through. And then this spice and this butter are about to become friends, right? Because what you do is you toss your butter in, let it melt, and then you add your spice mix. And that's it. I mean, it couldn't be simpler, but have a look at it. Oh yeah, that rich flavor, so good. So that's gonna be basting over the top of our turkey. But before we pull our turkey out of the brine, we need to create a happy landing place for it, right? So here I've got some onions, some celery, and some green peppers. So just chop this up, doesn't have to look perfect. You just literally cut it like this. You take all of these veggies and you just kind of distribute them over a roasting pan. Chop up your celery just into little pieces like that. You can also use the leftover veg in the bottom of your crisper for this one, because all of those flavors will be fine. I'm going to remove, chop up the peppers. You open it up by just kind of keeping the knife flat, turning that pepper as you work around, and then you can cut through this like that. Chop this up, beautiful. Toss it over your baking pan. I'm going to take the rack and set it straight over the top. Even though it's elevating the turkey up off the bottom of the pan, as those veggies cook in the oven, they will sink. Oh, it already smells good. The reason we baste butter or any kind of fat over the top of a roast is to add moisture. The reason I add spice to it is to add flavor and also a little color. All right, once your turkey's done enjoying its bath, it's been in for about 12 hours, so it should be ready. All you're gonna do is just gently let it drain all of that brine out. And once you've got most of it out, I know there's some of you going, yuck, gross, I can't believe he's doing that. Trust me. If there was a daintier way to do it, I would do it. But you let the brine kind of run off the turkey, place it onto your roasting rack, get rid of that brine liquid. But next what we want to do is pat dry our turkey, right? So get some paper towel and just literally pat it dry all over. Now, some people will tell you to tuck the wings underneath. The problem is, I like the wings and I like the skin to be crispy. And it doesn't happen when you tuck it underneath like that. So if you want to tuck it so it looks good, go ahead. But I like it so it tastes good. So once you've dried your turkey off and dry it all the way around, the next thing you can do is just tuck the skin of that neck underneath, like so. Right, make sure the turkey's sitting nicely over your rack. Another thing that I like to do is steal a little bit of this Holy Trinity, steal some of these veggies, and we're actually going to take those and stuff them inside the cavity. All right, our turkey has been brined, it's been dried, we've cut veggies to go underneath, we even stuck a little bit in the cavity. I don't put my stuffing in the turkey because it gets stodgy and it gets heavy. I actually bake it separately in a roasting tray, and that way it gets crisp on the top, fluffy inside, and I'm gonna make a whole video about it actually. Butter that we made, this Cajun flavored butter, and you just paint it all the way over that turkey. And of course, it helps that skin get really nice and crisp. This is just the very first baste that we're giving it. We're going to use the rest of this to baste as that cooking process continues on. So once you've got a good old covering and you don't see any white spots, you feel like you got it all, that's good enough for me. Then, this is an important part. You get a big old piece of foil, and we are going to tent that foil straight over the turkey, just like that, because that way we make sure that it doesn't brown too fast. Now we put it into a pretty slow oven, and it goes for about an hour and a half with the foil on. Then we remove the foil and we give it another hour 15 without the foil, so that's when the skin gets really crisp, and that's when we give it another baste with that flavored butter. Oh yeah. See you soon. Okay, it's been in for an hour and a half. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah. So this is the moment that you take the foil off. Oh, beautiful. That is exactly how you want it to look, right? So it hasn't started to crisp, it hasn't started to get too dark, a little bit on the wings maybe, but that's okay. Now's when we reach back for that beautiful Cajun butter and we go again. Because now we're going to put it back in the oven. We're going to let that skin start to crisp. Oh, look at that. Can you see all of the juice inside the skin? Come get a close up of this. Look at that. Talk about a juicy turkey. Already it's full of juice. So you brush this sucker everywhere. Make sure you get that beautiful Cajun butter. Save a little bit. We'll give it another baste in 15-20 minutes. You make sure you get it beautiful golden brown absolutely everywhere. Now we go back into the oven about another hour 15. The truth is, you got to get it to about 155, 160 using one of these probe thermometers. Once it gets to 155-ish, you can remove it from the oven. The temperature will keep rising for another 20 minutes or so because of carryover cooking. And you always cook it to 155, 160 by the time it rests up, ready to go. Oh, that's looking good already. Yes. This is that moment of anticipation where you know you've done all the work, the turkey's in the oven, all you need to know is that it's cooked to perfection and it's ready to serve. So mine is looking sensational. Oh man, if you could just smell it when I open that oven door. It smells unbelievable. Oh man, the moment is here. Woo! Look at that. It's exactly what you want. A big, beautiful golden exterior, succulent and juicy on the inside. I'm gonna check the temperature for the last time. Your thermometer, this is a probe thermometer. I'm just waking mine up. And you probe it into the thickest part of the slowest cooking joint, which in the turkey's case is the leg. Have a look at that digital readout. We're at 157. Okay, that's absolutely perfect. And the temperature will continue to rise ever so slightly during that rest. And we're aiming for 160, 165, that sort of area in the thigh, right? So that's gonna be perfectly cooked. The only thing left to do is to carve it. So all you're gonna do, you can either present it straight onto a platter and take it through to the table like that, or you can stick it onto your board and carve it. I'm actually gonna do both. So firstly, I lift that up, I bring it over here. I go on through to the family and I'm like, guys, happy Thanksgiving. And then I'll take it back to the kitchen and carve it, or you can even carve it at the table. It's totally up to you, but there's nothing like the spectacle of a beautiful roast turkey just like that. Now, if you want to learn how to carve it, I've got a YouTube video for you. If you want to learn how to turn this into an unbelievable sauce/gravy, I've got a YouTube video for that as well. I'll see you there. thanks for watching. Now, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you want more because I've got plenty to give you. All you have to do is subscribe.